Good morning. Happy Tuesday. I hope you had a nice long weekend, Dan Merle.
Hello. Yes, I did.
Oh, good. Did you enjoy yourself?
I did.
Good.
Caught up on some movies.
Are you ready?
Generally just enjoyed life.
Did you have a big breakfast? Because we're eating a lot of Marvel news this morning, Spencer.
Yum, yum, give me some.
Yeah, Joe Starr, how you feeling about that Captain Marvel?
Oh, ready to talk about it.
Good, because I compel you to do so. We're going to start with Endgame. I had a nice weekend, thanks for asking.
I'd rather, let's talk about your weekend.
Hold on. You can't have it both ways.
Space to ask. we had no opening to ask how your weekend was.
Yeah.
Well, that's fair.
You drive the train or you sit in the dinner car.
Yeah.
You can't do both or it crashes.
But I crash us nonetheless. Gwyneth Paltrow, done after Endgame. So
What?
Single tier, what? This is via Variety. So obviously she has been playing Pepper Potts since the very first Iron Man in the MCU. She pops up here and there as his once... Here's the thing. She was really his executive assistant. This article is describing her as a secretary, but I think she was running the show.
Yeah.
She was pretty much running
Tony
the show.
was MIA.
Yeah, he wasn't even there to do anything. So, and then she became, of course, his life partner, and then officially was running the show and the business as well. That's the story of Pepper Potts. But she is no longer going to have a story after Endgame, it sounds like, because this is what she said. She said, I'm a bit old to be in a suit and all that at this point. I feel very lucky that I did it because I actually got talked into it. Jon Favreau was a friend, and it was such a wonderful experience making the first Iron Man and then to watch how important it's become to fans.
Too old. I mean, come on. Like, Robert Downey Jr. is probably older than her, I'd imagine.
I think he's
Clearly-
84.
Clearly.
And they can, A, de-age you, and B, the suit acting is the easiest acting.
Sam Jackson's definitely older than she
Yeah,
is.
it's just your face.
Yeah.
It's just face acting.
Well, but also of all of the people that could get in a suit at age 90, it will be Gwyneth Paltrow.
Oh
She
my
works
God.
out 4
She's been
hours a day.
cryogenically encased in so many,
Icicles.
powders and rubs and salves.
Gemstones in
She's
every orifice.
covered in crystals.
Yeah. She's
She
just
has an
basically.
infinity
I think she
gauntlet
spends
inside
an
of her.
hour a day in a deep crystal bath.
That sounds about right.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, she'll
Yeah.
never be old, but she's done. So she says, I feel honored to be a part of something that people are so passionate about. Of course, if they say, can you come back for a day? I will be here if they need me.
I do like that caveat. If I'm going for a day.
It's interesting, though, because... well, a couple of things. She actually pulled back from acting a few years ago, for the most part, to focus on her business.
She's gooping.
Yeah, why act if you can go?
Yeah. But it's true. She probably it's so much more profitable for her.
And there's going to be a Goop Netflix series.
Yeah.
Where she will tell struggling women to take time off work to take care of themselves more.
Yeah.
Take
So
better
good.
care of yourself, you know?
Oh, good.
good.
Okay. Thank you.
Here,
I'm going to go get a gem to put in my orifice. I'm told it helps.
You're an easy mark for that stuff because you're always coming in with the
I
long
am.
bouillabaisse.
Oh my God, I am. I think if I was wealthy, I would absolutely be an easy mark for all of that.
I think she's missing an opportunity because I feel like there's a Venn diagram to be had on Marvel mega fans and Goop suckers. And I feel like that should be in the she should keep doing Marvel, but it should be in the contract that like she gets to somehow advertise a Goop product in each movie. Like Iron Man's like, we've got to stop Thanos, and she's like, I've got my own Infinity Stones. And then she like shows off their new line of crystals.
Yeah.
I think exactly.
And
She
then
could
puts them in
do
a bowl.
like a Marvel type or Marvel X Goop or like a Boy Goop spin-off
Yeah.
where it was just the same stuff but it had Deadpool on it.
Yeah. Well, do you want to hear something interesting about Boy Goop?
Yeah.
Because it exists.
Is that Alex Jones of
Boy Goop is InfoWars.
yeah, Alex Jones of what's his podcast
How did we get to
called?
InfoWars in less than
InfoWars.
5 minutes?
Because there's a reason.
Boy
There's a
Goop,
reason.
Dan.
Boy Goop. Alex Jones of InfoWars sells the exact same products as Goop, I had heard,
Yeah.
but just under a different name,
This
like
is true.
rebranded.
Right.
But it's the
like to
same
help
products.
you like kill a buck with your bare hands.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
She's like, this essential oil helps
Right.
you relax. And he's like, this essential oil helps you see the reptiles.
Yes. But
And
it's,
neither of them work.
but the thing that is that in the fine print of hers also helps you see the reptiles.
Yep.
Yeah, also does that.
I just like
Squirrels,
that
please.
at the end of the day, the important thing is that both both Gwyneth Paltrow and Alex Jones are really into diffusers.
Yes, I think that's what we've learned. Do the people want us to talk about Marvel, Dan? We'll talk about Marvel
It's a
because
thin story. It's just, she's done playing the role she's played
Is this
for
a
8
surprise
years.
to anyone?
No,
They're
I
all
mean-
done. We knew that.
Well, that's the interesting thing is one of the questions, because obviously Chris Evans said you want to get off the train before they push you off, blah, blah, blah. Do you think it's more of a marketing red herring to have them openly talking about exiting the MCU before Endgame comes out?
First of all, that train comment is very insensitive to Bucky, and I'm surprised that Chris Evans said it. That's very
Yes.
inconsiderate, and I don't know why he
My
would
best
do
friend
that.
died on a train.
Yeah.
So I don't think Captain America would be very happy with that statement.
It's true.
So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think that they're allowed to say. I don't think Gwyneth Paltrow saying she's done with Pepper Potts after this movie is a huge spoiler. Now, if Robert Downey Jr. was like, "I just shot my death scene," that's a problem. That's a problem. So they're all pros at this point.
Or if they say Gwyneth's wrapped after she shot her dies in childbirth in space scene,
Right.
you'd be like, I wish I hadn't known all of that.
I think you put a body man on Tom Holland and call it a day.
Yeah.
Everyone else has been through this before. I think they know
Yep.
what they're doing. And Ruffalo.
Yeah.
Put
Ruffalo can't be
in-
trusted.
Ruffalo,
Yeah.
Ruffalo
Can't be
you just keep
trusted.
away from the press
Yeah.
altogether. He's an older man.
It's true.
He can't be trained. It's too late.
Yeah.
Put a body man on Tom Holland to make sure that he doesn't go too far, and I think you're fine.
Any minute now, Ruffalo's going to be like, she goes into space and ends up with Rocket.
Yeah.
Like, and everyone's
Well,
gonna be
I
like,
remember this moment with Ruffalo at the, oh God, I think it was the Winter Soldier junket.
13 going on 30 junket.
Maybe it was like
kids are
maybe
all
it
right.
was Ultron. But I had this moment. It was him and Scarlett Johansson were paired, and I was trying to get a quote, if we're honest, about Hulk, Planet Hulk, and I was like, oh, where do you think? I don't know. Would he go to like space? And he goes, oh yeah, we're definitely going to space. Like that's in the works,
Yeah.
and it's happening now. Which at the time, this was before Ragnarok was announced or anything, and my face just went.
That eyelid thing.
And you could see his face start to register that he shouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
And then he just goes,
We could.
I like
Could
it.
if I wanted to.
Space gun.
Space!
I mean, there's
I like
one-
space.
He just became the Lego space guy.
Spaces are cool.
Spaceship.
All kinds of space. I have space here. He did some. He spoiled Infinity War before anyone realized he spoiled Infinity War
Yeah.
on some talk show. He was like, half of everyone dies. I think maybe.
You can't be trusted.
I don't know. I was on a green screen and a suit for most of it. Whatever.
Yeah, but he gets a pass because
He's Mark Ruffalo.
He's because he's Mark Ruffalo, and B, he literally survived having a brain tumor, so he gets a pass on anything
Well,
and
to
everything.
be fair, like he's an actor. He did not train for decades to have every word that he said dissected by 47 different news sites. Hello, and for clues as to his upcoming project, he's usually just talking about what he's in,
And mostly like indie films where like you want to gush about the film and everything you're planning on doing and like
Yeah.
get the word out. And here he has to be like the Sphinx.
Yes.
Like, I will
know.
answer you these questions 3 or something.
Do you like space?
What is your favorite color?
What is space really? Is
Yeah.
it the absence of matter?
Discuss.
Discuss. Jessica Jones, speaking of the absence of matter, Jessica Jones and Punisher have officially been canceled. This is via Slash Film Deadline and all of the obvious facts as we know them. They are off Netflix after they have canceled all their other shows. We knew this was coming. I think we had tracked the date. Dan, remind me, didn't we say that we believed it was X amount of time after
1
the
month.
series had been
I think
released?
it was about a month after, which
Yeah.
is it's been a month since Punisher.
Yeah.
But then they went ahead and just preemptively said like, oh, and Jessica Jones
That too.
Yeah, don't
Which
worry
hasn't
about
come
her.
out. Yeah, but
Yeah.
just enjoy it when it comes out because you're not getting it anymore.
Yeah, I like that. She just got screwed. So this is the official statement from Netflix. Marvel's The Punisher will not be returned for a 3rd season on Netflix. Showrunner Steve Lightfoot, the terrific crew, and exceptional cast, including John Barenthal, delivered an acclaimed and compelling series for fans, and we're proud to showcase their work on Netflix for years to come. Parenthetical, we still got this, Marvel, don't
Yeah,
forget. In addition, in reviewing our Marvel programming, we have decided that the upcoming 3rd season will also be the final season audition for Marvel's Jessica
I think
Jones.
pretending like they just made that
They
decision.
got the breakup notice out before Marvel did.
Yeah.
I dumped you.
We just got, well, it was on them. They actually have to officially cancel it, but we're grateful to showrunner Melissa Rosenberg, star Kristen Ritter, and the entire cast and crew for these incredible seasons of this groundbreaking series, which was recognized by the Peabody Awards among many others. We are grateful to Marvel for 5 years of our fruitful partnership and thank the passionate fans who have followed these series from the beginning. And then Marvel, of course, under Jeff Loeb, released a big statement saying, yada, 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 look at all we did. It was fancy. And then he ended with our...
It was fancy.
These two should just make out already.
Who? Ted
Marvel
Thread?
and Netflix.
They'll never make out.
No.
Yeah.
Do you ship them still?
Well, no. Apparently, the ship is over.
Yeah,
the
they're
ship
on-
sailed.
I used to.
Or
Do you think
they're
Disney
on a
Plus?
break.
Yeah, Disney
Maybe.
Plus is just trying to get Netflix's attention to like notice me.
Yeah.
You know.
They're
Yeah,
they're
make them
out there at
jealous.
the boombox.
Yeah.
Flirting
So
with another.
Netflix is the Baxter?
Yes, Netflix is the
Okay.
Baxter. And so he said our network partner may have decided to no longer want to continue telling the tales of these great characters, but you know Marvel better than that. As Matthew Murdock's dad once said, the measure of a man is
We'll
not how he
wring
gets
all our
knocked to that,
content
how he gets
IP dry till,
Yeah.
till it's dust in the wind.
I think the license, and I could be wrong on this, if you guys have the answer to this, great, put it in comments. I think it lasts, like Netflix technically have this license to these characters another year or two, and then Marvel retains the license back. Is that right?
Yes, but
Something
they
like that?
keep the programming, I believe.
But they keep the programming, so it's just, do they want to do something on Disney Plus or not is the question. But it doesn't feel like it would
They
be a
won't.
good fit for
No,
Disney
they
Plus. They could send it to Hulu.
I
could.
think they will. Well, yeah, maybe Hulu, but I think Disney Plus is going to need every scrap of intellectual property and excitement it can generate. And I obviously like Star Wars and the real core MCU Marvel things or that, but like a streaming service can't be built on a couple shows. Like you need to overwhelm people with the amount of stuff you're getting, like a Netflix and like Hulu. So they need to like, yeah, Defenders, sure. Like bring in a Daredevil, yeah. Why would we not make a Daredevil thing on there? Like they're gonna need everything in the Disney vault to make this work.
Well, they've set it up to date that it's going to be very much on Disney brand, meaning family friendly. So this version of these characters, I don't know.
So when they eventually rename Hulu Disney After Dark,
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it all goes there.
Nighttime Disney.
Yeah.
Confessions.
At what point does this all become mutually destructive? So now, directly because of the streaming wars, you've now lost all 5 of these Marvel series that are gone now. Maybe come back later, but for now, totally gone. And then you're going to have people that love to watch Friends in a year. That's going to go over to Warner, so someone has to go subscribe to Warner. And the people that like The Office, probably in a year or two or however long, they're going to have to go to whatever NBC Universal's doing. Like, all of this programming that they like is all going to go to their separate... Like, at what point does the audience just go like, yeah, screw all of you guys. I'm just going to... I don't want to deal with this anymore, because this was like everything is now becoming fractured, and if you want to watch something, you have to go to 15 different places. I don't see how that works as a consumer.
I honestly think it escalates until Comic-Cons become faction-based battle royales.
Okay.
Where
Okay.
like you show up and you're like Marvel Disney man, and
When that happens?
yeah, well, when it goes past like I'm typing angrily to actually I have to run to the middle of Hall H to
You're
pick up a
right,
katana
yeah.
sword before you do.
Fair enough.
We have a
I
lot
think-
to
I think
learn
that's where
from.
we're going.
We have a lot to learn from soccer hooligans.
Sure.
You know, there's prearranged
Generally
battlegrounds. Yeah, and everyone meets at the pub that like I imagine supports that club.
Yeah.
Scum and villainy.
Scum and villainy.
We all
Yeah.
go to the Star Wars bar.
And then you get your foam swords or your real swords underneath the foam ones, and then
Yeah.
you all meet at the parking lot and you rumble.
So
Yeah.
I like this idea. But I think the pub that supports Trek, you just have to drop all your weapons at the door and then go in for like a tea and a negotiation. Is what I
Yeah.
imagine.
or a Batleth fight.
Or you strip down and get
Yeah.
Yeah.
One or the other.
Just bare torsoed Gorn wrestling. It's not all negotiations.
Just a
and-
bunch of dudes running around just jabbing at throats
Yeah.
and necks. Ha!
Yeah.
like that Anchorman
yeah.
2 scene that went on way too long.
Yep.
But for streaming services.
But it's still my favorite scene in the movie because it's so the battle because of the ghost of Stonewall Jackson, which I don't know why it's just one of my favorite
gotcha.
moments
That's
in
fine.
cinema.
It got you in there.
because
It's fine. I get it.
It's so dumb.
Yes.
It makes no sense.
It's time to look back on Anchorman 2. Probably not, but
No, it's definitely not.
Okay.
No, you were right the first time.
I just feel like because they're all corporations and the corporate mandate is to win, always, to be the winner, not a winner, to be the winner, then right now nobody is cooperating with each other. Nobody's teaming up. Nobody is saying, hey, you know what? We have a great library. You have a great library. Maybe if we came together,
I think what you're
then
proposing-
we could have one really strong offering. No, everybody's got to do their own, and everybody knows that massive expansion just always stays that way, and there's never any contraction or it's just.
But on the
You're
other
proposing
token,
an island alliance.
an island alliance. Yeah, but
Is what I hear.
on the other token, as expensive
Like how I
and,
win Risk.
and annoying as it's getting to be like, $9 here, $12 here,
Yeah.
$13 here, like we're getting so many shows and so many things. Like there's a whole Miller World is coming to Netflix. Like they're doing like all kinds of like entire
Oh,
comic
Mark
book
Millar.
universes.
Millar.
Millar, excuse me.
Yeah.
Are being.
I
Blah.
thought you
being-
meant genuine draft, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
The Miller, like, the
I
Bud
was
Knight is
picturing
getting a
this whole
series.
series of beer-based programming.
Like I think there is like this kind of explosion. It's a blessing and a curse because there's too much to watch. But like I'd rather have too much to watch and it be easy to access, and I want to be able to choose it kind of a la carte. But we're getting so much more than we ever would have thought possible.
I'm not arguing against that. I'm just saying that at a certain point, things are going to fail that perhaps could have succeeded if somebody had come together and said, like, this is hugely expensive, and it's so scattered right now. Maybe we can team up and figure out a way to offer the same content, but together so that people are getting a bigger value for their money instead of like $6, $7, $9, $10, $7, $6, $5, $4, $3, $7, $8. It's at some point it's just like, no, I'm not going to
Yeah, I
do
get
it
that.
anymore. How's DC All Access doing?
That's a good question. I do not have the answer
When was
to
the
that.
last time, like, other
Billy?
than fans of DC All Access, is that, or is it going to have the same 300,000 that CBS All Access probably has, or whatever? Is it DC All Access? Is that what it's called?
It's
No, that's the show. DC.
It's DC All
Unlimited?
Access is
think that's the
the
service,
program
yeah.
that our friends are on.
Streaming on Infinite Earths.
I don't know what it's called.
Yeah. what it's called.
So
I forget.
infinite streamings.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's doing. That's a good question, and I do think. But look, Disney is clearly making the play at Netflix because they consider Netflix to be their greatest competitor, which they are to date because the other things don't exist or they exist
And
in
Disney just
in a very
doesn't
contained
really
way.
control any kind of like end of the line distribution thing.
Yeah.
Like they're always reliant on somebody else to actually like put out what they make.
Yeah.
So Disney
big
is
play
a
for
very
them.
controlling company. Like they want to from snout to tail own the whole pig.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everyone who eats the pig.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Finish that thought.
Who?
No, there were no thoughts.
Oh, there were no thoughts? I thought I heard a thought. I thought I heard two thoughts. Here's the biggest sadness for me in this story is that in all the hubbub and somehow shock that these have been canceled on Twitter, Friends from College also canceled on Netflix. And I think that is those fans are the real
See,
victims.
I don't even know what that is. There's
Great
too many,
show.
Too many things.
Yeah.
No idea.
Yeah, fantastic 2-season series with a great cast.
Put it on my queue.
All gone. Worth watching. Keegan's in it. The lady that played Sam Jackson's number 2 in the Marvel movies is in it.
Maria
Fred
Hill?
Savage is in it. He's great.
Colby Smulders?
Kobe Smulders?
Yeah, Colby's. Thank you, Colby. It's not early, but I don't know names good. Yeah, all those people in it. Great show. You guys didn't
Right.
see Friends from College?
Did not.
Missed it.
Guys, watch Friends from College.
Right.
That guy's in it
Well,
too.
1,000 TV
So
shows
many
to
things
watch.
to watch.
Billy Eichner's in it.
I'm watching Game
show.
of Thrones currently. I'm
Me too.
catching up on Game of
I've heard of
Thrones.
that.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm familiar
That's
with.
my whole project right now.
Are we just? Is this where we just talk about what we're watching? Because we could instead of doing these stories. Because I'm watching Succession. It's really good.
I'll also be sad if Umbrella Academy gets canceled because it's very good.
You know what? It's not the point that we're going to talk about what we're watching, but if we need to kill some time towards the end of the show after this story, sure, we can
fair
do that. This is the point in which we talk about Rotten Tomatoes. That'll be fun. The audience score, which is the score about how many people want to see this film, is already pretty low on Captain Marvel. And it's postulated, people are, this would be a screen rant, postulating, and based on fact, that this is an attack specifically against Brie Larson, who has been outspoken in support of kind of the initiatives around women in Hollywood. And there's a bunch of hateful comments, not just about Brie, but the movie, but Brie herself on the site. And it does raise an interesting question in terms of, does Rotten Tomatoes, can they do anything about it? Should they do anything about it? Those are the two things. And then also, how is this being reported and talked about in the popular fan culture online magazines like that we have available to us? Dan Murrell, you read something that was interesting.
I did. It's the same thing that's happened to regular news, but it's now happening to comic book movie news, DCU, whatever Marvel is. There are enough outlets now that people will find the one that doesn't necessarily report the news, but reports the news the way that they want to hear it. So there are sections of the internet, there are sites that have somewhat of a following that are covering Captain Marvel in a very negative way. I read a story that was just completely obviously not in favor of this movie, not in favor of Brie Larson, and reported it that way, that it was dividing its audience and that Bob Iger is allowing her to be political, and do they want this to turn out like Star Wars? And it's not news. It's a polemic. It's somebody that doesn't like Brie Larson, doesn't like her politics, doesn't like the movie, the tone of it, and is reporting the news in such a way that of course people read the headlines, but the headlines that go out are very negative against the movie, painted in a very bad light. The tracking was adjusted, which tracking, I'm sorry, I was going to apologize to Billy, but he's not here. Tracking largely is bullshit.
Oh, wait, we're saving that, but more to come on that.
The fact that they reported in January that tracking was a certain number, and then it was lower the second time that they adjusted. It's the same effing guess that it may be a little more accurate than it was in January, 5 months before the movie came out, or 3 months. But it got lower, and so now people ran with this thing like, it's in trouble, it's because of Brie Larson, it's because she's a feminist. It's just because those numbers are horse manure, generally. They're best guesses.
No one's seen the movie, by the way.
And no one has seen the
first screening.
Movie.
The first screening is literally
movie.
tonight for critics.
Yes. Is it? Damn it.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it to know this is going to be a bad movie that hurts fandom.
So it's just, we're at a point now with these movies. We've talked about it. I've talked about it personally. We're at a point with these movies where the story is written on them before they open. People have made up their mind how they feel about it. A lot of people, not everyone, largely a lot of people have made up their mind about how they feel about a movie before it's even open. The people that hate Captain Marvel now are going to hate Captain Marvel after they see it, if they even see it, and don't spend the days in their basements attacking it, pretending like they've seen it. And that's just how it is. It sucks, and it's awful, and I hate dealing with it, but that's how it is now. That's just how it's going to be for every one of these movies. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, you name it. 20% of the audience has made up their mind either way, and they're going to yell and war at people who disagree with them, critics, you name it, no matter what.
Then 80% of the audience isn't going to know that even happened. But Joe Starr...
Look, this might not be PC raw.
Okay.
But when I was 14 years old, Captain Marvel was a pretty blonde lady that wore a bathing suit. And that's the way she should be.
She can't change her clothes.
She can't change those clothes.
Nah.
She is a lady that fights in a spandex bathing suit.
It's the source of her power.
Yeah, that is the source of her power. And when I was 14, it was the source of some of mine. And that is how she should remain.
All right.
Otherwise, it's an affront. It's an affront to nerddom and everything I have stood for since I was born.
Yeah. Spencer, would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good. I think we've solved it.
Thanks, man.
Well, yeah, I think that as we said in the notes, like The Last Jedi and the Black Panther, and the Black Panther went through the same kind of thing. Didn't really affect the box office. The pre-movie review bombs. So I think we're talking about
Black Panther.
A subset of people. Like, there's people who watch the movie. There's people who might be predisposed to disliking the movie. There's the people within that who are extremely online. There's people within that who go on Rotten Tomatoes, who go on Rotten Tomatoes and sign up for an account and then bother to write one. Like, this is a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of people, but they have an outsized effect because here we are.
They got to mess with
So
the
that's
algorithm
actually
of the thing.
what I want to bring up is the outside effect of a fraction of the actual audience. And if that's not something that should be addressed eventually, like, does Rotten Tomatoes to some degree, and I don't have the answer to this, is an actual question. Most of the time I know the answer when I'm asking you guys the question. But in this case, I don't. Which is, does Rotten Tomatoes to some degree have an obligation as a source of, like, this is a place where people go to learn and know about movies. Should they see them? Should they not? An average audience member probably doesn't have all of this backstory about the fraction of the fraction of the fraction, and they look at that score and they think it means something that it doesn't necessarily mean.
Now, this score is labeled percent want to see
Percent
it.
want
Right.
to see it, exactly. But still, even then, that percentage is going to be there until the reviews are there, and you may, as a consumer, think, oh, well, I'm going to put on balance what kind of the fans and the audience
Well,
are
I
saying
don't
and
think
what
it's as
critics
big a
are
deal if
saying.
it's want to see it.
But
If
no,
it was
but-
affecting the actual audience score,
And it's going to. I promise you, the
Okay.
second that the audience score comes out, it's going to be rotten. Because the amount of people that are motivated
Yeah,
to
they're
go on
ready for
Rotten
it.
Tomatoes and say that I like this movie and I want to rate it 4 tomatoes or whatever is very small. And the amount of people, and you can skew it with 5,000 and that's all it takes.
Yeah.
The amount of people that are motivated to go on Rotten Tomatoes and say, this movie sucks, keep politics out of my films, even though there's probably not going to be any politics in the film
Can we
itself.
define politics real quick? Let's come back
For
to
the
that.
people that go on Rotten Tomatoes and brigade an audience score and something like that, politics means that there's a female character in the film.
Interesting.
And she is not in her bathing suit.
To a large amount of that's true. That's true. People didn't like Laura Dern in The Last Jedi. I've
'Cause she was not in her bathing suit.
I have actually gone into the mouth of madness and read some of this because it baffles me.
Feels
and
like
I'm
it's not a
so
good thing to
confused
do.
by it.
That's some Brocraftian stuff right there, man.
The complaint that I keep seeing about Laura Dern in The Last Jedi, which people, I don't even know why, she seems to be the one, more than almost anyone else, that there's a certain portion, population that has just fixated on her, is that she is a female in a position of power in a Star Wars movie. That's the complaint that I keep reading, and
Well,
that she
it's
didn't do what they
because-
wanted her to do.
It's because she gave Poe an order he didn't want to obey as his
Right.
as his leader, and then there were consequences.
I will say too, there's like a weird.
She had position of power over a male figure that they had
Yeah.
come to know and identify with in the previous film, and that was enough.
And then that perfect stormed with, there's another piece of like film criticism I see online when people discuss movies where they look at characters, and because a character did something in a movie, they're like, that doesn't make sense to them or wasn't the right decision or whatever. They're like, this movie is flawed and poorly written. And it's like, no, the
characters
character had
are
a
flawed
flaw.
people.
That's the
Like Star-Lord going after Thanos. It's
That's
like,
the
he's a
point.
flawed person. Like, no, everyone doesn't behave perfectly logically. I just want to
so a perfect stormed with that.
speak
It's a
briefly
storm of
about the idea
perfection.
that politics aren't in these movies when they're about genetically engineered warriors like Captain America, and they're fighting for the state. And
Yeah.
Star Wars is also about a war between political factions. So
Yeah.
I think politics might be a code word for something else.
But yeah, and that is the interesting. That's why I said let's define politics, because when we're talking about the actual politics of the film, they're heavily. I mean, look at Winter Soldier. You know, look at Civil War. I mean, that was in a completely overtly political film. They were on two sides of a political line that exist in our world, coming from two perspectives
I think
that actually
the-
exist in our world. But when people say politics as it relates to this film in internets, that is not what they mean.
I think
at
the
all.
solution, this might sound radical. I think you put Carol Danvers back in her bathing suit, but then
Okay.
you also put all of the, like, go back and re-edit, like, have a post house go through all the Marvel movies, put them all in the same bathing suit,
Yes.
so that
The same
when
bikini.
when everyone fights, whether it's Bucky or whether it's T'Challa or whether it's Carol Danvers, I can kind of see that little lower third of their butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good solve.
Yeah. Which superhero do you think
What?
has
It's a good solution.
the lower back tattoo? Because my
definitely
money's
Thor.
on Cap.
Thor.
Thor.
It's a rune, though.
You're right.
Oh, that's an ancient rune I got. It means strength in Icelandic.
That says barbecue pork grill or whatever. Runes.
No, dude, no.
My favorite thing.
I got it from a dying star.
Very quick.
force.
Very quick side note. I took Sanskrit in college, of course.
Of course you did.
Obviously.
That checks out.
That tracks.
It's like totally tracked. But my favorite thing about having done that is that I know how many people's tattoos are misspelled.
Ooh.
So many misspelled tattoos.
I'm sure.
In Sanskrit. Like, your thing doesn't say anything. That's not how you spell Om at all.
You think that'd be easy?
You would think,
Yeah.
but no.
You're just in a free people criticizing their tank tops. Like, this doesn't say relax.
This doesn't say anything. Sister, it says your dog took a shit in the woods. Speaking of Rotten Tomatoes,
yes.
so we didn't answer our question.
No.
What do you think? Do they have an obligation?
They can't
To the
police.
conversation.
They can't police people doing what they're going to do. I think they have an obligation to make sure that people who are there are actual people and not some kind of artificial way. But beyond that, what can they do other than removing functionality from their site? There's nothing that they can do except try to educate people about what those numbers mean. But that's boring and nobody cares or wants to do that. So it sucks because you're right. When people see a score like the audience score, which again I promise you is going to be rotten, the second that reviews start and that audience score goes from a want to see to an audience rating score, it's going to be rotten. And you're right. A lot of people are not in on what is happening and who's behind a lot of this. And that's not to say that if the movie's not good that the score couldn't be legitimately bad. It could be if the movie's not good, but it's going to be rated bad before anybody sees it. Before one person sees a frame of this movie, it's going to be rated bad. And that's what I hate is it does have perception and people don't necessarily know that this could be brigading or whatever. They could just think that the movie sucks. And it could come out and it could suck. That's a very real possibility. But the fact that this whole thing is happening before it even comes out, that people have made up their mind about this movie before it even comes out, means that even when it does come out, and if I don't legitimately like the movie, if I think it sucks, well then now people look at me and like, oh well, you're part of those people. I'm like, no, I just didn't like the movie. Or if I do like the movie, it's like, oh well, you went in there liking it because you're a liberal, whatever, blah blah blah, and then it's the same vortex yelling match that's just been going on forever. It really is so discouraging because, especially as a critic, what I want to do more than anything is have a great, productive conversation about movies online. That's it. I don't care if you like it. I don't care if I liked it. I don't care if you hated it. Let's just talk about it. And more, you can't even do that. You cannot do that because the conversation is predetermined, no matter what. And that sucks because that is what people who love movies love to do. And there are fewer and fewer places on the internet where you can do it. And it's the worst. It is the absolute worst. And I hate it. Sorry.
Hear, hear.
It's a lot of downers in the beginning, but I hate it because I just want to talk about movies. That's it. Just an open, productive conversation where you can actually talk about it, like actually debate about it. Yeah. Actually, oh, okay, I see what you mean. Oh, well, you know what? It didn't hit me that way, but I can see why. That's what you can't. There are this many places you can have it on the internet, and that's shrinking like that.
The funny thing, those are those same folks. Those are also the folks who in comments, because we see them every day, will be like, oh, people are going to call me racist or sexist, and it's like, but you framed that, you did that, like with this. Like, you set up that conversation. Like, you predetermined what this is going to be for yourself.
You mean for disliking a character?
Yeah, well, no. Yeah, like, these same people who are, like, going to bomb the Rotten Tomatoes are the same kind of people who are like, well, I'll just get called racist for not liking Black Panther. And it's like, because you made it a racist conversation by doing shit like this. Like, you set yourself up for this. I think it's part of a larger conversation that... I don't know if it's for this show or not, but like no one who set anything up on the internet was prepared for what the internet was going to be.
Yeah.
You know, Rotten Tomatoes was like, oh, it'll be a nice place to review and to talk about movies. And Facebook was like, it'll be a nice place to trick girls that I want to see make sexy pictures, post them on their profile pics.
Wait, all I heard was sexy pictures on Facebook.
Sorry, Mark Zuckerberg was like, what if the girl that lives down the hall from me had a reason to put a hot picture of herself online? And that's why he made Facebook. And now it wins and breaks
Maybe
elections.
that's why the Winklevoss twins did, but Zuckerberg was after cold cash because then he could buy that girl.
True.
So here's my other thought, though. I'm kidding. Come on.
Didn't it start as Hot or Not or something like that?
It was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Hot or Not.
Yeah. So, wait, the internet, before origin story of Rotten Tomatoes, it was actually a fan of Jackie Chan movies, and he
did not know
could
this.
not find a place
Yep.
to like find reviews of Jackie Chan movies, and so he started one because he just wanted a place to go where he could like put all of the reviews of his favorite actors' movies together,
Yep.
and then it grew from there. So that's
Whoa.
the origin stories of most things that actually make sense come from a strange desire of the
Right.
person, like the paperclip. That was a secretary who's just like, or whiteout, sorry, who just like needed it. It was a utility thing, and then she was rich.
The irony of that is now if you put Jackie Chan as the lead of a Marvel movie, these same people would be like, of course a white guy can't know Kung Fu in this movie. Jackie Chan had to come along. And the guy who founded Rotten Tomatoes is like, I'm really excited Jackie Chan's in the Marvel movie.
Chan movie, yeah. I think the other, and this is definitely not for this show, but I'll drop this and then we'll close it out. The other interesting thing about this kind of lack of reason that we see sometimes or have sometimes, it's part of human nature, but it's really weird how the exterior, like real things in the exterior world are reflected by frankly not real things like that we talk about on a daily basis. Like the divide between these different fandoms is also reflective of the world becoming more divided along national lines, sectarian lines, whatever it is, which if we look at history is never good. Never.
No.
Always better to connect on your shared humanity, whatever that is. So I would say that across the board, and I think that people are incredibly sensitive to feeling categorized on every part of this conversation, because I think there's obviously this reactivity is coming from feeling. I don't know if you guys saw that cover story on doesn't matter. Come back to it later. People are feeling sidelined and maligned and categorized and stifled, and that weirdly I think makes you more dug in. Does that make sense? What I just said?
Yeah, well, it turns into a bunch of people going, no, I'm more sidelined than you.
Yeah.
And
It's because we live in a reactive culture. People don't. There's no, and this goes up to the news now. The news reports everything they know as they know it, immediately. Whether it's true or not, whether it's fact checked or not, like every single detail about a story comes out like as they learn it. There's no process of what the news used to do, which is like they used to gather facts, they used to report them, they check with another source, you check with that source, and then you present the story as it is. And so what happens is stories have inaccuracies, or they're painted one way and then it comes out there's another way, and that does damage to one side or that does damage to the other side. So then the other side uses that as ammo to say that, well, this person can't be trusted, that person can't be trusted. Like there's no filter anymore. It's just everything's just information as it comes. There's no perspective, there's nothing. And so people get overwhelmed by that and they find their little corner with the people that already think what they believe, and they only listen to those people. And when you only surround yourself with people that think like you, well then yeah, of course somebody that thinks differently, it's going to be seen as an attack, because the only people that you talk to and trust are people that already think like you. And so somebody from a different side is going to be seen as an enemy. And so then it's an automatic yelling match, and it doesn't feel like there's anyone in the middle holding these sides apart going like, wait, no, hang on, here's what's really going on that might actually listen. It's just all the voices are just all shouting at each other, and there's nothing in the middle that's like, but here's what's actually going on.
it'd be insane if
Cacophony
you
of
saw
madness.
that in like play out in real life. Like if three coworkers, like one was telling two a story and was like with news, how it just comes out like little piecemeal and we all have to have a huge reaction. Then the next, like, if
everyone
he's
has
telling
to
a story
react
and
to
he's just
every
like,
scrap of the
Pam,
news.
and one of them's like, I hate Pam, and the other one's like, go Pam!
Yeah, Pam
and he's
sucks.
like,
Yeah, Pam's good.
couldn't misplaced her bagel. I bet it was stolen. Poor Pam. I bet she. Later found the, and it's just like screaming
Reacting
for 4
piecemeal.
days over
You
every
don't have
sentence
the
about Pam and her
whole-
bagel.
Like you don't have the whole story before you're even reacting.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think the other interesting thing, I don't remember where I read this or heard it, whatever, but essentially the idea is that if you say someone believes that the world is flat, imagine, and
Clearly, the truth is somewhere in the middle. It's a cylinder.
definitely not the point I'm making, but also it is a cylinder as far as I understand, is that if you give definitive proof that it's not, like take them into space, fly them around, whatever it is, they will change their mind at first and then go back and double down on the initial belief because the need to maintain identity and however embedded that is in identity is like your sense of security in the world is so much more dependent on your sense of maintaining your identity
I'm
than
a flat
on
earther. My dad was a flat earther.
No, and I get it, Joe. I kind of assumed it. It's why I brought up the flat Earth.
Yeah.
We're trying to get you there bit by bit. We don't want to.
Don't overwhelm them. Don't
We
scare
don't
them
want to
off.
overwhelm you because we actually want the change to last.
If it's round, explain where the end of a rainbow
No,
goes.
that's for. We're just gonna.
Pot of gold, Joe.
Yeah, pot of gold. And we'll just leave it at that for now.
sliding board that takes me to space.
I think we just learned a very important lesson. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
And it's that slow change. Incremental change. Don't give it to them all at once. Don't take them into space. Stand and fly them around. Slowly acclimate them to the idea that the Earth is a.
Nah, man. Accelerate. Let's blow it up so we can start over.
Nuke it from orbit.
Comic-Con Battle Royale, it's coming. It's coming. We're doing it.
On that note, you can watch commentaries. This was Philosophy Minute with the four of us as your guides. You can watch commentaries. You are going to have Charting with Dance, box office later today. There's going to be all kinds of shows this week. We got this. We got movie fights. What else? We got a review in there somewhere.
Maybe.
Maybe we'll find out.
That's right. There is somewhere. Yeah.
We'll surprise you.
See you then.
Who knows?